So I'm going to reinforce what you just learned a little bit slower and with less information, because everything that they said is going to be applied throughout the year, okay? So it's really important, but we're going to stick to what you need to know for this is the root of where we're headed, okay? So nitrogen gas is how much of our atmosphere? 78%. And as they said, it's unusable. I put humans, it's really unusable to almost all living things. But I put humans because obviously that's us, and we want to worry about how we get this nitrogen because it's a major element of every compound. It's responsible for proteins, amino acids. Well, amino acids are proteins. Proteins, DNA, and ATP. Okay? So the only way nitrogen gas gets converted is through natural process, which is with electricity. So lightning fixation, which is down here. That's naturally, well, both are natural, okay? But one requires an organism and the other one just happens with weather, let's say. So lightning will convert nitrogen gas into ammonia. Nitrogen fixation, so the fixing of nitrogen, and here it's still called fixing, except lightning does it, is done with bacteria. And there's two forms of bacteria that do this. But again, it's the same thing. Nitrogen gas into ammonia or ammonium, and you don't have to know which or what process or how it's that perfect chemical reaction. Either or is fine, okay? The two organisms that do that, it happens in the hydrosphere or on land. They're both types of bacteria, okay? Cyanobacteria, where's that? Anybody ever heard of that? In the oceans. So that's a big chunk of our fixing because 70% of Earth is oceans. So a lot of the fixing takes place this. The other chunk happens on root nodules of plants or in the soil with a bacteria called rhizobium or rhizobium. And more specific, it's in legume plants. Root nodules of legume plants. And that's what they look like, that picture right there. So bacteria did what? They converted. So we have now ammonia to start, right? Whoops. And they're going to convert it further, not cyano, another form of bacteria, into nitrate and nitrites. That process is called nitrification. Think about you're making another form of nitrogen. Nitrification. I don't know how to help you there, but that's the best I could do. Now, what do we have? Nitrates and nitrites, right? These nitrates and nitrites can be denitrified. What do you think that word is saying? It's going to be converted to what? I'm like taking away the nitrogen from its usable form. Where are we going back to? No. Nitrogen gas. Okay? I left the reaction there open for you. Or it can go here, which is into other organisms. So plants are going to take in the nitrates and the nitrites, and they're going to convert them into organic forms of nitrogen, such as DNA, RNA, protein, okay? And then what happens? No, right here. Food chain. The food chain begins. So an organism will eat the plant, or an organism will eat the animal, regardless of where the rich organic forms of nitrogen are. Waste can be released or death can occur, same story as before. So we're going to take that rich organic nitrogen and bacteria are going to break it down into ammonia. That process is called ammonification. So kind of to sum it up, mainly found in the lithosphere are phosphorus and sulfur. In what form? Rock. Now that's natural. What puts excess of this in the lithosphere? What puts excess phosphorus in the lithosphere? What was the phosphorus cycle?
Like fertilizer.
Fertilizer, okay? All right, and I put it here, actually. See fertilizer? Yeah. Now, forget about sulfur. Sulfur is mined and phosphorus is mined, but phosphorus is mainly used as fertilizer. Nitrogen is also a good fertilizer, okay? Now, mainly in the atmosphere is nitrogen in what form? N2. How does nitrogen get in the atmosphere? Name me ways. Because I didn't really say it. How did we, I never told you how it went back, except one way. Okay, so nitrogen goes back into the atmosphere with BFF, right? Well, how else? How did I tell you just 5 seconds ago? Look at your notes. 5 seconds ago, I told you how nitrogen gas gets back into the atmosphere.
Like non-human ways?
Denitrification. Okay? Hydrosphere mainly, obviously has water, and carbon. Why is carbon mainly in the hydrosphere? Because it reacts with calcium and forms, which is makeup of shells and bones, and then limestone, okay? Guys, remember, I'm going to put it over here. Another biomass burning includes the burning of what? Living things, what else? Trees, which is a living thing, but good because sometimes you forget plants are living things. What else? Fossil fuels, yes? Okay, that's all biomass burning. They will put into the atmosphere what? From these cycles. Let's be more specific. Nitrous oxides, we're going to say. Yes? What else? Carbon dioxide. What else? Never enters the atmosphere. What else? Water. Some form. What else? Sulfate. Yes? Okay.
The NOx, that represents the
Nitrous oxides.
nitrous oxide, because it can be like so many different ones.
We're not going to worry about it.
And through denitrification, does nitrogen just like rise as a gas?
Yep.
Yeah, it just goes.
And if we go back here, you could consider this. Where is this NO3 right now? It should, right? Even this can rise. The NO3 and NO2, okay? I should probably say that. Hey, so if we go back here, because we're talking about what puts things in the atmosphere, and you said nitrogen gas. So if you have this compound and it gets denitrified, it goes as a nitrogen gas back into the atmosphere. But these compounds right here, if they're not used up by plants, can rise into the atmosphere as well, okay? Hit the deck.